Alright, guys, welcome back to another episode of Unveiled Truths. Today we're going to be going over why did Yeshua, or Jesus, let the woman caught in adultery? Why did he let her go exactly? And if you don't know where that's at, it's going to be in John chapter 8. And excuse the sniffling. I've been mowing all day, so my allergies are messing up. Alright, John chapter 8, starting on verse 2. It says, Now early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came to him, and he sat down and taught them. Then the scribes and the Pharisees brought to him a woman caught in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said to him, Teacher, this woman was caught in adultery. Caught in adultery, in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what do you say? This they said, testing him, that they might have something to which to accuse him. Okay, so we notice that they're already testing him because they know that if he fails according to the Torah and what it says, then he's not going to be sinless. Because sin is, in fact, breaking the Torah. And please go check out my other YouTube videos. I have some good content. This they said, testing him, that they might have something of which to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and wrote on the ground with his finger, as though he did not hear. So when they continued asking him, he raised himself up and said to them, He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. And those who heard it, being convicted by their conscience, went out one by one, beginning with the oldest even to the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had raised himself up and saw no one but the woman, he said to her, Woman, where are those accusers of yours? Has no one condemned you? She said, No one, Lord. And Jesus said to her, Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. So they already got convicted of their conscience because they know that they was breaking the law. And we're about to go over why they was breaking the law. If you go to Exodus 20, verse 14, we're just going to start with the simple stuff. Exodus 20, verse 14. Very simple. It's the law. It says, You shall not commit adultery. Okay. Leviticus 20 and 10. And this is going to kind of give us a brief definition of what adultery is. Leviticus 20 and 10. And it says, The man who commits adultery with another man's wife, he who commits adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. So whenever the scribes and the Pharisees came up to him, you'll notice that they said, This woman has been caught in adultery. But according to the law, you're supposed to have both the male and the female that was caught in the adulterous act. Next, we're turning to Numbers 35 and 30. Numbers 35 and 30. And it reads, Whoever kills a person The murderer shall be put to death on the testimony of witnesses, but one witness is not sufficient testimony against the person for the death penalty. So what I'm mainly focusing on is the part where whenever it says that one witness is not enough for a person to be put to death. And the last one is Deuteronomy 17, verses 6 and 7. Deuteronomy 17, verses 6 and 7. It says, whoever is deserving of death shall be put to death on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. He shall not be put to death on the testimony of 1 witness. The hands of the witnesses shall be the first against him to put him to death, and afterward the hands of all the people. So you shall put away the evil from among you. So if you notice, they wasn't even following the law. That's why they said, or that's why the Messiah told her, go and sin no more. They just brought the woman. You're supposed to have the male and female. And then he asked her, he's like, where are the witnesses against you? She said that there's no witnesses. So whenever he asked them, he who is without sin, let him cast the first stone. And then it says that they are convicted by their conscience because they themselves knew that they was breaking the law, and not just her. It's hypocrisy. So I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you have a blessed night or day, and shalom.